In this Hong Kong Mahjong Let's Play live stream, we're going to be playing at Mahjong Time. Today's topic is an introduction to the game. So if you missed it a few weeks ago, we're going to go through it again, and we'll repeat this same cycle of topics. So if you have friends who want to learn how to play and they can't be here today, sorry, that is my little dog who is just having fits today. Okay, if you have friends who are not able to be here today, maybe they can come the next time we do this. There's a link in the video description below to a wiki article with the list of recurring topics. So we're at the top of the list with the introduction. I do want to say thank you for being here. Thank you also to moderators who will be helping monitor the chat. I'll go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. And I apologize in advance for the barking. Hopefully he'll calm down in just a minute. We're having some construction done today, so we have strangers on the property. All right, so let me get this presentation ready. If you are new to the game, type #noob in live stream chat so I know how many new players we have. And if you already know how to play and haven't seen this, then maybe this will be a good refresher and you'll pick up something new. It's fairly short, fairly. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, here it is. Everything you need to know to play and win. That's my hope for you and me. So with Mahjong, if you're new to the game, it began in the Yangtze River Delta in China in the 1850s. The earliest archaeological evidence points to this date. And there were card games that were similar to the tiles we use today. So there's a history there, and it all began in China. And then it, just by playing the game and spreading throughout Asia, it ended up in New York in the 1920s. A gentleman who was traveling in China saw people playing the game and thought Americans would love it. So he translated and simplified the rules and created this Red Book. That's what it's called. The name, the nickname for this is the Red Book. So he translated it, simplified the rules so that Americans could figure out how to play the game. And then what happened is that there have been some changes to the game between then and now, of course. This version that I'm teaching you today is called Hong Kong Old Style. There are several ways to play Hong Kong Mahjong. Even in Hong Kong Old Style, there are 3 variations. So there are variations of the variations. This is the variation that we play at Mahjong Time. It is a 4-player game, and you do melds. So you pick and discard, make melds by claiming discards. And it's similar to Rummy. A meld is when you claim a discard and you complete an exposure or a block of tiles. You can have chow, which is 3 in a sequence that we see here in this example. And then there's a pair also. You need 4 blocks and a pair in your hand. The other block can be a pung, and that's 3 of a kind, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The object of the game is to be the first player to complete a hand consisting of blocks of 3 or 4 tiles with a pair by drawing or claiming discards which require the meld. So you could stay concealed and not claim any discards if you want to. You don't have to claim and meld or claim and expose. Excuse me. So when you get your hand, you want to be the first player to complete a hand. So the goal is to do it quickly. Everybody is going to be trying to be the first player to win. The blocks that you're trying to create in your hand are with number tiles, a chow, 1, 2, 3. You can do a pung, which is 3 of a kind. And then you can do a kong. The chow is a number tiles only. Pung and kong can be any tile. And we'll look at those tiles in a minute. The standard hand has 14 tiles consisting of 4 blocks and a pair. The blocks can be concealed or melded. The concealed blocks are made by drawing from the wall. The melded blocks are exposed after claiming a discard from another player. So with a chow, if you want to claim a discard for this type of block, it can only come from the player on your left. So if you want to do a 1, 2, 3 and you have a 1, 3 and someone across from you discards the 2, you cannot claim that. You can only claim a tile to complete a chow if the player on your left discards. With a pung or kong, you can claim it from anybody. And same with mahjong. When you declare mahjong, you can declare mahjong from any player, even if it's a chow. And incidentally, turns may be skipped in the process. The game continues with the player on the right of the last person who took action. Also, when you have a kong, 4 of a kind, because there are 4 of every tile, no jokers, you get a replacement tile from the back of the wall. And there are several ways to do replacement wall, where you get the replacement tiles, and we can talk about that as well in a bit. The tiles that we're going to be working with that will make the different components of your hand are dots. These are known also as tong, coins, circles, and stones, depending on the region. Then we have bams. These are known as so, bamboo, strings, and sticks also. And then we have cracks. These are also known as wand, character, and myriad. So you can see we have 1 through 9 in each one of these suits. Dots, bams, cracks. Those are the terms for what Americans call these tiles. Dots, bams, cracks. And for Asian version players, the more common names are stone, sticks, and wand. Stone, stick, wand. Some people do call it a circle, but I've heard mostly stone, sticks, and wand. That's what I hear most of the time when I play with Asians. The reason why coins and strings and then the myriad are on here is because, or that's what the terms are, is because it's fashioned after the money system. They used to put strings of coins together. So you have 100 coins on a string, and then you have 100 strings of 100 coins, and that makes for the myriad, 100,000 won. So that is where this all began. The design of these suits is all based on the old money system. We also have some special tiles. These are called honors together. These are honors. So any combination of winds or dragons are called honors. We have red, green, and white dragon. Sometimes the white dragon is blank. There's nothing on it. When you see the tile, it's just blank. And it's actually sometimes called a blank or board. So red, green, white dragon. And then we have east, south, west, north winds. And you want to memorize that order. And the way I like to do it is I say, eat soup with nuts. Eat soup with nuts. And incidentally, you can see the shape of English or our own alphabet in these characters. You can see 3 horizontal lines in the east tile, the first one. You can see the big belly of the south tile. And then you can see a W for the west. Really, they have, that almost looks like a big bottom. So you have a big belly for south and a big bottom for west, which is kind of what you see when you look at a W. And then you can almost see a north in that north tile. So try to memorize it based on some kind of a connection that you might have to help you remember this order. East soup with nuts, east, south, west, north, east, 3 horizontal lines, south, big belly, west, big bottom, and then a north that almost looks like an N. So if anyone has any other ideas on that, let me know. And incidentally, there are similar ideas with the crack suit. The dots and BAMs are easy to remember because clearly there's 2 dots, 9 dot, there's 9 dots. Same with sticks or the BAMs, 2 BAM sticks, 9 BAM sticks, 9 BAM. So those are easy, but the cracks are a little more challenging. The 1, 2, 3, 4 is easy because that's how many slashes or cuts are on the tile. With the 4, you can see 4 perpendicular lines. The 5 you have to memorize. The 6 is a running man. The 7 is an X. The 8 is a mountain. And the R is, it looks like a cursive lowercase r to me. So that's why I say it's an R. Let's see. Someone shared with me an idea. So let me think about it. A man ran to the mountain. Okay, so I'm not sure about the 7, but the idea was 6, 7, 8, 9 is a man. That's like a running man. It almost looks like a running man there. A man ran, so the 7 is ran to the mountain, which is 8, where he saw a temple. And that, I guess you could say that R looks kind of like a temple. So the running man, the man ran to the mountain to see a temple, something like that. So come up with some kind of a way for you to memorize these suits. Asian gameplay, are dragons only referred to as honors since Babcock renamed them dragons? Well, no, the worldwide name for these tiles now are dragons. But in the beginning, when the game, before the game was imported into the United States, they were not called dragons. They were called virtues. So, or there's also a connection to archery where the white dragon is a miss. The green dragon is like an aim. And then the red dragon is a bullseye, I believe is what that is. I have a wiki article on that. So when the game was marketed to Americans, because of the exotic concept of dragons in Asia, the Babcock made that connection and it resonated with people, and it now is accepted worldwide, even in Asia now, in Japanese Mahjong, Hong Kong Mahjong, Mahjong competition rules, they're called dragons now. So they are now called dragons, but in the beginning, they were not. They were, I believe, called virtues, the 3 virtues. And the virtues at the time were familial benevolence and prosperity, and prosperity is the green dragon. Filial benevolence, family caretaking is the white dragon. And then the red dragon, I believe, stood for center for China itself or something like that. So I don't quote me on that, but I do have this documented in a wiki article if you're interested. And then, of course, the winds, east, south, west, north, east, south, west, north. Okay, so these are the tiles that you're going to play with, and there are 4 of every one. So there are also bonus tiles. In Hong Kong Mahjong, the flowers, there's 2 sets numbered 1 through 4 of each. You can see there's Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, 4 on some of these flowers. And then on the other flowers, there are characters. So you see the cuts in there with the Chinese writing 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 perpendiculars you can see there. So 1, 2, 3 lines and then the 4. Those are the seasons. So there are 2 groups of flowers. Flowers are one group, numbered 1 through 4, and then you have seasons with the Chinese characters 1 through 4. They're different because there are 2 different groups, and there's scoring involved in those tiles. And we'll talk about that later. So when you get a flower, because they're bonus tiles, they're not part of your hand. They're not part of the 14 tile winning hand. They are bonus, they're extra. So you have to expose it and get a replacement tile. So you always have 14 tiles. Then you discard, you're down to 13 again. Your winning tile would be 14 tiles total. So if you draw a flower, you're going to have too many tiles. That's why you expose it right away. Then you get a replacement tile. So then you have enough tiles to then discard and keep going. So any questions about the tiles that we play with? Dots, bams, cracks, dragons, winds, and flowers. No jokers. There are no jokers. Okay, so here we go. The other things that you're going to see in a Mahjong set are dice, usually 3, and you can play with 2. It really doesn't matter. It just extends the randomization of where the wall is going to be broken. But 3 dice, sometimes even 4 dice come in a set. You can use 2 to 3 for common use. And then you're going to have a little triangle, and this piece is what identifies the player who was the first dealer, also known as East. Player 1 is East, and then this little marker identifies who was East first. And there's a reason for that. The game is played in rounds. So you want to know who was the first East. When East, who is quote unquote the dealer in name only, by the way, East rolls the dice to determine where the wall is broken to start the deal. It's like cutting the deck. When you play with a deck of cards, you cut the deck to ensure nobody is stacking the deck with good cards. You do the same thing in Mahjong. So the dice are rolled to randomize where the wall is broken to begin the deal. And when East wins, East keeps the dice and they stay as East for another game. If they lose, the dice go to the player on the right and they become East. So that continues until the dice get back to the original person who's East, and then you begin a new round. So the rounds follow that eat soup with nuts rotation, east, south, west, north. During the east round, if anybody has a 3 of a kind, called a pung, of the wind of the round, you get score for that. So you can increase the value of your hand based on the wind of the round. And there's more, of course, which we'll go into. But I just want to explain the equipment that you're going to see in a set if you purchase a Mahjong set. Dice, and then this triangle piece that identifies the original East, and then you have a wind of the round indicator. And that changes based on the round, east, south, west, north. A full game is when you go all the way around the table until the end of north round. So it could be an all-night deal if you choose to. You could just play east, south, or you could just play east if you want to. You don't have to go all the way through north. It's a long event, which is fine by me because I'm a hardcore player. And usually the game is played over the weekend. So sometimes it could even span days, like maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then everybody goes back to school and work. But in Asian families, Asian culture, Mahjong is a big part of the activities in off time. So there are marathons. And then you have these sticks, they're called bones, and they're like poker chips. So they got little dots on them that identify denominations. So you have to assign some kind of a value to each one of the sticks. And then you pay each other like poker chips with these sticks. You can also use chips. I got these at Yellow Mountain. You can also use poker chips. It's up to you. You can even use cash, dimes, nickels, quarters, dollars, tens of dollars. So yeah, it's up to you. Some people even use playing cards. So you can use the number, tiles cards 2 through 9 or 2 through 10. I guess it would be, no, 2 through 9. Oh my gosh, I don't play cards much. You can tell. So 2 through 9, or is it 2 through 2 through 10, and then Jack, Queen, King. So each one of those would have a value. So the 2 would be 2 cents. The 5 would be 5 cents. The 10 would be 10 cents. The Jack could be a quarter. The Queen could be 50 cents. And then the King could be $1. And the Ace could be, let's say, $5. So you would attribute the value to each playing card and pay each other with the playing cards. And then, of course, you can scale the bankroll and just attribute or assign a different value to each one. Okay, so here's how the game is played. We see the walls here are stacked 2 high, and they're 18 wide. 2 high, 18 wide in front of each player. And you pre-curtsy the wall or push it out in like a 45-ish degree angle. So the walls are in a way so that everybody can reach the tiles. And then you just push the tiles in so everybody can continually reach them. So you roll the dice to determine where in the wall to break it in order to deal the tiles. Basically, each player sits on one side of a card table, player 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, that is assigned to the winds. Player 1 is east, player 2 is south, player 3 is west, and player 4 is north. And those coincide with flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same with east, south, west, north, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm east and I get a 1 flower, I'm going to get score for that because it's my flower. Flowers, incidentally, are pure luck. There's no skill when it comes to flowers because they come from the wall. And that is where the luck of the game is, in the wall. Whatever you draw from the wall, pure luck. It's what you do with the tiles you get that is skill. Okay, so next, you build the walls in front of each player and you push them into an angle. So usually you see that all the tiles kind of skewed when you see Asian versions of the game. And then east, yeah, they're skewed. And then east rolls the dice to break the wall, deal the tiles. And here you can see how people have picked and discarded tiles. Any tiles that are exposed, like this player on our right, they had claimed a discard to make each of those different blocks. And then the tiles that are standing up, those are not seen by the other players. So you can see this player on the right has exposures here. They're waiting to win on a 4 crack or a 6 crack. So this player to our left has a pung. They have a waiting chow 4, 6 dot. And then they have 2 pair here, 2 6 dots and a 7 dot pair. And then they have 6, 7, 8 chow with a pair. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. That 4 is probably their next discard, which is probably why it's a little bit pushed off a bit. They're probably going to be discarding that tile on their next pick. That's my guess. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you play the game. The game is played in rounds, as I shared before. There's the wind of the round indicator. It's got a little cube that you turn, and then on the circle, when you turn it up right side up, you'll see whatever the wind of the round is at the top. And all these indicators are a little bit different. This is one that I think you can get at Yellow Mountain. I don't particularly like this one though, because it's really big. It's too big, I think. So the rounds consist of 4 games each, unless East keeps winning. If East wins, they keep the dice. And if they lose, the dice go to the next player. So you can see here's the wind of the round indicator with East on top. When the dice get back to the original East where that marker is, then a new round begins, and now South will be put into that thing. So South is on top. So here's what the deal might look like. Let's say East rolls an 8. They would count around the table, the walls or players. So East counts themselves as 1, then South is 2, West is 3, North is 4, then East is 5, South 6, West 7, 8, North. So you count around the table whatever you roll. So North will break their wall. They roll the dice and they add it to, or there are different ways of doing it. You can roll it and add it to 8, or you can just roll it and use that number. So in this case, we rolled East or North rolled a 12, and then they count right to left 12, and that point is where the drawing ends, and then East takes the first 4 for their hand, and then South takes 4, West takes 4, North takes 4, and so on until everybody has 12 tiles. Then East takes the top 1 and 3rd tile because they get an extra tile to start the game as with their discard. And then South gets 1, then West and North. So everybody has 13 tiles with East having 14. East discards to start the game. If somebody wins, they get paid based on the value of their hand. If nobody wins, it's called a draw, and everyone just mixes the tiles again. You build the walls and you start over. If you look in the video description, you'll see a quick reference. On here has all the information that I just shared in a condensed instruction page. On the inside, we have the scoring. It begins with the value of flowers, which is 1 fawn. The element, the scoring element is called a fawn, F-A-N, fawn. So if you have no flowers, you get a fawn. But the minute you get a flower, it's got to be your own number. If you're player 1, it's got to be a 1. Then you'll get a fawn for that. If you happen to get all 4 flowers of each group, then you can get more score. So if you have all the flowers, you can get 2 fawn. 1 because you have your own flower, and 2 because you have all 4. And that applies to both the flowers and the seasons. And then we have dragons and winds. Any pung of dragons is a fawn. If you get your own wind or the wind of the round, that also is a fawn. So winds and dragons have value. Some winds have no value though. If it's not your wind or the wind of the round, it will have no value for you. But it can help you still with your hand, and we'll talk about that later. Then we have the whole hand, all the components together. You look at the whole hand and you get value depending on the components of the hand. If you have all chows, all your 4 blocks are 3 in a sequence plus your pair, then you get 1 fawn. So that's the lowest value hand, besides what's called a chicken hand. A chicken hand has no value. So the next one is when you have all 3 of a kind. It's a little more difficult to do, so it's got a higher value, 3 fawn. Also, 1 suit with any combinations of winds and dragons, that's called a half flesh. That is 3 fawn. So all pung and 3 and half flush, 1 suit with any combination of winds and dragons. Those are a bit harder than an all chow hand. You get 3 fawn for that. And then if you have all 1 suit, that's called a full flush or flush. That is 6 fawn. That's very challenging to do. So that is much harder than the others. And then you get value for how you win. If you win when you get a replacement tile, like a flower, or maybe you get a Kong and you need to get that replacement tile, if that is your winning tile, you get a fawn for that. If it is the last tile in the wall, you get a fawn. If it is your self pick, if you pick your, oh, I missed one, last discard, the very last discard in the game, just before a draw, then you can get a fawn for that. If you win by self pick, you get a fawn. And then there's a special, very rare situation where if a player has a pung, 3 of a kind, and they draw the 4th tile and they extend their pung to a Kong, at that very moment, if somebody could win with that tile, they can declare Mahjong. It's called robbing a Kong. And it's very rare. I think it's only happened to me 1 time. That's 1 fawn. It's almost as rare as a heavenly hand, which we'll talk about. There are penalties in the game. If you win by self-pick, everybody pays double. If you win by discard, the player who discarded the tile pays double, and the other 2 just pay regular. Okay, any questions about the basic scoring or standard scoring? Each one of these elements are called a fawn. You just start at the top and go down once you see your hand. It's easy. It looks like a lot, but you get used to it. So basically, in a nutshell, the player who declares Mahjong receives a payout from their opponents using the scoring table that I just showed and what I'm going to show you in a minute. This will, what I showed you before gives you your fawn, and then I'm going to show you in a minute how to convert fawn to points. And then whatever your denominations are for your chips or whatever payout you use. So this is what the standard scoring looks like. Remember about the wind of the round. That is what is called prevailing wind. It's synonymous. Wind of the round, prevailing wind, same thing. And this is what the fawn to points table looks like. It's called a fawn lock, L-A-A-K, I believe. So if you have 0 fawn, but you have 4 blocks and a pair of anything, that's a chicken hand. It's 1 fawn, just for having a complete hand. But if the components have no value, you're going to get 0 fawn. You want to have some value. 1 fawn, let's say you have your own flower, and that's it. That's 1 fawn. And then that converts to 2 points. Once you know your points, then you can go to the payout, and whether it's by discard or self-pick, figure out who owes what. The max value or the max fawn count is 10. So once you get to 10, you don't go higher than that. So if you get to 10, that's max. That's limit. It's called limit. So you want to get a limit hand. That's a lot of fun, and it will get your heart rate up. I guarantee it. So now let's talk about scoring. A chicken hand is when you have no value in your hand. You have no fawn, 0 fawn. Sometimes people play chicken hands, and we're going to do that in a minute. A chicken hand would be all the blocks are different, chow, pung, different suits. This would be a chicken hand. All chow, 1 fawn. 3 in each block is 3 in a sequence. Then we have an example of an all pung hand, all 3 of a kind. Here we have a half flush, 1 suit with any combination of winds and dragons, 3 fawn. Here's another example of a half flush with a seat wind. Let's say that we're in west seat. We got a pung a west. That would be 4 fawn because you get a half flush of 3 plus your wind. That's another one. So that's 4 fawn. Here's a half flush with 2 pungs of dragons. A pung of the wind of the round. This would be a 6 fawn hand because you get half flush, dragon. So you have half flush, which is 3, then a dragon pung, 2 dragon pungs, and then a wind of the round. So that's 6 fawn. Here's another 6 fawn hand, all one suit. And then we go into special hands, which for the sake of time, we're not going to do that. We're going to go play Mahjong now. So I hope you found that introduction helpful. We're going to go play the game now so you can see what it looks like. Let me open up Mahjong Time. Does anybody have any questions? It'll probably make sense once we get here. Uh-oh. I changed my password. Okay. So here's the game. We're going to go to games. And then we're going to click Hong Kong Mahjong. And then we're going to jump on a regular table here. And we're just going to play at a chicken hand table. Okay. Oh, wait. We don't want to. We're in fun games. Okay. We'll go here. Oh, yeah. The game is sometimes played in rounds. You can see right here, there's a round. Okay. So here we go. We have all green belts at the table. Everybody knows what they're doing. This is a 0 fawn. This is a chicken hand table. So we want to win with any combination of tiles. We have a bit of a lag here. Okay, so we have a lot of number tiles. Single honors do no good. You cannot chow singles. We're in east seat, so I'm going to discard the south. As a single honor, it's not going to do me any good. The number tiles have the flexibility. We could do a 1, 2, 3 chow. We have a pung right there. Then we have a couple of isolated tiles, the 9 and the 7. We have a potential chow with a 2, 4, and then we have isolated 6, 9. So we're in a tough shape. We had a rough deal. This deal is not executable at the moment. Okay, let's let this dragon go.
Green dragon.
So now we have a little more work that we can do here now. We have a 1, 2, 3 potential chow. We have a 3, 4 potential chow. We could maybe pung the 4.
2 bamboos.
Okay, now there we can chow. It came from the player on our left. So we're going to chow.
Chow.
Now we'll get rid of this red dragon. Okay, so let's see.
Dragon.
Are all the hands in Wiki? There's a link in the video description below to a Wiki article, and under downloads in that article is a quick reference. That's what you want to download. Dana says, how do you exchange chips for money?
Chow.
Is there a bank?
7 characters.
Well, you mean when you play in person?
Red dragon.
You just usually what happens
1
is
character.
I mean it's up to the group really. Most people have poker chips in
$5.
trays, and you give let's say $10 to somebody, and they give you a tray of chips. Or some people use cups
7 bamboos.
with the bankroll in there. Okay, so that could work. We want to get rid of our isolated tiles. Let's get rid of the 9 dot.
9 dots.
Okay, so I played with a group one time,
9 dots.
and they played with pennies. So they had like a couple dollars worth of pennies in a cup with your name on it. And so you would come,
2
and
bamboos.
no money would be exchanged. It would be just for fun.
3
And you'd get a
dots.
cup of pennies. And they paid a penny per fawn. Super cheap.
Chow.
I would play a dime per fawn. If I were to host a Hong Kong Mahjong game, I would say a dime per fawn. So if right now we have a 1 fawn hand at the moment, we might be able to do all chow here. So this would be no flowers, 1 fawn, chow hand to another fawn. And here's our pair right there. So we're ready to win. No. We need to do a little bit more work in here. We need a 5 bam, 2 bam, something like that. There, 5 bam. So now we can discard the 4.
4 bam.
And we're ready to win on a 2 or 5. Bam, bam. Ready on a 2, 5 bam.
3 bamboos. Chow. 8 bamboos.
Okay, we have 1, 5 bam. I don't see any more out.
1 bamboo.
We need a 2, 5. So
6 characters.
you're asking about cashing out chips at home. So typically, okay, we're going to pass. Typically, I'm not sure if I was clear, but if you have a $10 bankroll, you come with $10, you give it to the host, and they give you whatever
East wind
means of scoring that you do, whether it's a poker chip, playing card, those bones that I showed you, whether it's chips from Yellow Mountain, and you play with those, or you would come with $10 of quarters, nickels, and dimes, and that's it. So you would just pay using quarters, nickels, and dimes, and you would pay a dime per fawn. That's what I recommend. So here we have an all chow hand, and they won by self-pick. So everybody paid 8 points. So they have a 2 fawn hand. If this were at my game, 2 fawn, that would be a 20-cent hand. Everybody would pay 20 cents. So they would get 60 cents. But everybody pays double on self-pick. So that would be 40 cents from each player. So they'd get $1.20 for this hand. That's how it would happen in my game. I hope that helps, Dana. Let's play one more time. We'll be able to play a couple more games, I think. Did that help, Dana? After this game, we're going to do a 3 fawn table. So we make a bigger hand. If you play in a chicken hand table, people play super, super quick. But the more difficult hands take time. And that's where you'll see more wall games. So we're going to do another chicken hand table. So we're going to go for the quickest win possible. We were ready to win on an all chow hand. And we had no flowers. So we would have had the same value as the person who just won. Okay, here's a friend at the table. Hi, Joey. Nice to see you. Joey is a member of our community. So let's see if we can get another player here at the table. Did that help answer your question? Oh, okay, good. When my mom ran a group, she ran a Wright-Patterson Mahjong group. And what she would do is they played where in Wright-Patterson Mahjong, you have a rack because the American Mahjong tiles are smaller and they don't stand up on their own. So you need a rack. And each rack had coins on it. Each rack was $1. So when you came to play, you would give $1 to my mom and you'd get a rack. And if you didn't do well, you would need to buy another rack. So you'd go put out another $1 and get another rack with coins on it, kind of like the ones I showed you in the presentation. So each rack was $1, and then everybody would contribute $2 in addition for drinks and the big winner prize. So whatever the drinks cost for wherever we were, sodas, coffee, what have you, that would be kind of a tip to the staff or whatever. And then my mom would also divvy out a little bit for whoever was the high winner. They would get a bonus. So if you're the high winner, you'd get a bonus, and then she would have a booby prize. A booby prize like $1 back to the lowest player. So let's say $2 to the high winner, $1 to the low winner, and then whatever your winnings were from your rack. So if you wanted to do some kind of a bonus and some kind of a consolation prize, you would just ask them to bring an additional contribution. So let's say everybody comes with $5 in quarters, nickels, and dimes. Or I'd say $10, okay? $10 in quarters, nickels, and dimes. And then everybody contributes $5 into a pot. And at the end of the night, you give a prize to the high winner, a booby prize to the low winner with that money given to the pot. And then whatever people walk away with from bringing their $10 pie or $10 money. There is no pie. Usually you just fork out more money. So that's how, if I were to run a Hong Kong Mahjong group, that's how I would do it. Let's see. So the player would can in their chips with your mom when they left. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for Wright Patterson Mahjong, you would do really well to walk away with $1. That's not enough. That's not enough for me. I want to come home with, 20, 30 bucks. If I'm going to be spending hours playing Mahjong, I want to walk away with cash in my pocket. So I say 10 cents a fawn, $10 pie for a 6-hour game or something like that. And then have a 3 fawn minimum. So people are playing big hands. No chicken hands. No. Okay, so this is a better deal. We have East. That's the wind of the round. And we have a pair. We've got chow potential everywhere. We have a single dragon, which is no good. So I think because we're so well tied in, we're going to discard the 1 and keep the green. Let's see if we can get a green dragon pair.
West wind.
I would say if the East goes down, we'll pung, and then we'll chow like the wind.
5 dots.
We have a pair already, or there's a chow right there, 7, 8, 9. We have a 7, 9 potential chow, 2, 4. We have a 6, 8. There's a white dragon. Okay, so now I would let these go because actually, yeah, let's do.
Green dragon.
We have a 4, 5, 6 here, and we have a 4, 6. So this is going to, our potential of getting these are going to be dwindled a little bit because of this chow right there. There's only 4 of every tile.
9 dots.
So here's a 4, 5, 6, 7. That could affect right here.
2 bamboos.
Okay, white dragon. That's awesome. Okay, so now let's let the 2 go.
2 dots.
So we could pung, and then we could pung here even, or we could leave that for a chow. We could leave that for our pair.
Dragon.
I would go for punging these honors. These are valued honors.
West wind.
White dragon. Awesome. Okay, so let's let the 8 dot go.
8 dots.
So now we have a pung of dragons in our hand.
Chow. North wind.
We need the East. Now somebody could have a pair of East as well. You never know.
3 characters.
Okay, so there's an 8. Let's let the 6 go.
6 dots.
We actually have, when you have consecutive pairs, that could be 2 chows. So we have 7 crack pair, 8 crack pair. Those could be pungs. Or we could do 7, 8, 9. 7 crack, 8 crack, 9 in two identical chows.
7 bamboos.
Okay, let's let that go.
4 dots.
This is working out to be a pretty nice hand here. We could, we have somebody, Joey, you stinker. Okay, so, he has a nice hand actually. All chow, so all his blocks are chows. He won on self-pick, and then he has his own flower. He's north, number 4, player 4, own flower. So he has a 3 fawn hand. That's awesome. We were looking really good here. We could pung east, and then have a pair and go for half flush. That would have been a big hand. However, look over here. Pair east. Pair east, we were head to head. We were going to block each other from getting anything out of that east. He was probably thinking, oh, I'll pung. I was thinking the same thing, but you have people holding valued honors thinking that they're going to get a pung when in fact they're blocking each other. So here, red dragon pair. Over here, we have a single. I was keeping it for value to get to half flush. But this player over here had a pair. There's only 4 of every tile. So if I probably would have discarded the 7-9 and then tried for half flush because I'm greedy. This player's not quite ready, but they have a mix here. They were probably just going to go for honors, pungs of honors, and then whatever's in their hand, it doesn't matter because you get value for these honors here. This player over here looks like all chow. Pair here, they're ready to win on a 7 crack. 7 crack right there. Okay, so now we're going to leave and we're going to create a custom table. I'm going to create MAHJLIFE 3 fawn. Let me see here. 3 fawn. Okay. Eight points is 3 fawn. Okay. All right, so let's see if we can squeeze in a couple games here. Oh, there's Shelby. She's also a friend. We might be able to squeeze in 2 games. They're pretty fast, maybe 5 minutes or so. Hong Kong Mahjong is a very quick-paced game, which is why it's a lot of fun to play. Super quick, easy to learn, easy to teach, easy to learn, quick, stimulating, invigorating. It's a great version to teach kids. And anybody brand new to the world of Mahjong, this is the perfect version to teach because it is the basic version of the game worldwide. If anybody learns how to play Hong Kong Mahjong, their learning curve for any other version is much shorter than someone who tries to learn any other version from scratch, just going in cold. So this is the entry-level game right here. If somebody's brand new to Mahjong, this is what I would recommend learning first. Good. There's Joey, who just took our money. We're at a 3 fawn table this time. And I don't know who this player is, but we're going to seat them. Hopefully they know this is a 3 fawn table. Okay, here we go. So we need value this time. All right, we're in trouble already because we have equal number of dots and bams. We need to try to get to a half flush, or we need to gather pairs and do all pung.
1 bamboo.
So we have 2 potential blocks with, we have no flowers right now. That's a fawn. All chow would be a fawn. That's 2. We would need more.
5 dots.
We got to have a 3 fawn minimum. Okay, now here, let's go ahead and chow. We're going to go with dots.
Chow.
Since the player on our left
1
discarded
bamboo.
a dot, we'll probably continue to get dots from them, and that will allow us to chow.
5 dots.
So we're gonna hoard dots and honors and try to get to a half flush.
6 characters.
We're gonna be able to chow 2, 4.
2 characters.
Okay, so they are in BAMs.
9 bamboos.
They're playing BAMs. They threw a dot and they're
9
throwing
bamboo.
cracks. So that means they're probably going for a half flush with BAMs. The player to our right has BAMs
3
in
bamboos.
front of them. They're doing either cracks or dots. The player across
7
from us,
dots.
so you kind of do this opposites.
2 bamboos.
So the player across from us, they're probably
5
doing,
dots.
they could be doing dots over there as
2
well.
dots.
They threw a dot, so they're
3
probably
dots.
doing BAMs. Oh, chow.
Chow.
Okay, let's throw the BAMs.
3 bamboos.
Kind of, and then, so
3 dots.
we need to hoard dots. We're going to get rid of the cracks in the 4 BAM. We need to try
9
to
bamboos.
pair up these honors. You can see here, there's only 2 south, no other honors, no
East
dragons. Oh, there goes the east.
6 characters.
So I'm going to still hold this east because it could bring value if we get a pair.
1 dot.
It is a long shot. I'm
4
assuming
dots.
that people are holding the dragons for value. So we may
7
never see those
characters.
tiles. We need dots in here
Con.
to save this hand. Okay, so the player on our right is doing cracks,
7 dots.
probably cracks and honors, half flush
2
with
dots.
cracks. They're throwing dots and a crack in front of them, so they're
9
probably playing
characters.
BAMs. They're playing BAMs across from us,
5 bamboos.
and we're sabotaging BAMs.
9 bamboos.
So BAMs are going down hard from me and the player to our right. Now somebody
4
could be
characters.
doing all pung. All pung is 3
1 character.
fawn. So this
4
player to our
bamboos.
left,
1 character.
I still think they're in BAMs to our left. This player to
4
our
bamboos.
right, I think they're doing probably all pung because they have a 4 crack in front of them and they have a Kong of 7
5
cracks.
dots.
So my guess is they're doing
5
all pung
bamboos.
over there.
7 dots.
And our tiles are going down a bit. So we could still do
4
a chow
characters.
with that 7 maybe.
2 characters.
Okay, nice. We just got a pair
4
west.
characters.
So there are no wests out yet. We're in
4
South
dots.
Sea. So that won't help us much except to get to a half flush.
2 characters.
Any combination of winds and dragons with 1 suit is a half flush.
2 bamboos.
So we're almost at a half flush. Let's see, 5. Let's let the 5
5
go.
characters.
This 1 is out right there.
2 dots.
Do folks talk during gameplay since it is fast-paced compared to American
8
Mahjong?
bamboos.
Folks get offended if you don't talk during gameplay.
Kong.
You don't like to talk during the game. I don't either. I'm very
North
quiet
wind.
when I play the game.
Huh.
But in Asian versions,
7
typically
bamboos.
people are focused on the game. But there
1
is
character.
banter. There's joking and, prodding
1
each
dot.
other, teasing each other. There's a lot of teasing that goes on in Hong Kong Mahjong.
1 character.
And especially after the game, it gets loud.
9 dots.
But in Riichi Mahjong, Japanese Mahjong, you can hear a pin drop. With American Mahjong, it's very
North
social.
wind.
Hong Kong Mahjong is social,
3
but the game
dots.
is very fast-paced. There, we got
5
a pair of
bamboos.
dragons now. So we're cleared to a half flush.
9 characters.
But Hong Kong Mahjong is such a fast-paced game.
3
It's
dots.
typically, you just hear pong, chow,
8 dots.
Mahjong. It's very quick. Okay, let's let the 7 go.
7 dots.
Pong, chow, Kong,
4
Mahjong.
bamboos.
It's super quick. But if you have a 3 fawn minimum like this, it takes longer
6 characters.
because you've got to get that 3 fawn.
6 characters.
Okay, now we need, let's let the dragon go.
White dragon.
Pun.
So let's see, they're holding these
1
pairs.
bamboo.
Okay, we need to get a number tile in here and let this dragon go.
South
This is
wind.
going to be super risky though. Okay, we don't want that.
9 characters.
We still need a pair in here.
White dragon.
Okay, where's the east? There's only one.
dot.
There's only one east out. This green dragon is going to be
East
risky.
wind.
Okay, so let's throw the east.
East wind.
So we're one away from ready. We got ready on a nice hand
Red
here.
dragon.
Okay, let's pung.
Pung.
Now this could be the winning tile for somebody. I don't want to throw that.
8 dots.
That green dragon could be a winner for somebody. We're still ready to
1 dot.
win. We're ready to win on a green dragon.
Red dragon.
2 characters.
That is not Mahjong.
7 bamboos.
Okay, so let's see what everybody has. Oh yeah, look over here. We could have thrown that green dragon, but this player over here, we're going to look at everybody's hand. So we're ready to win on a green dragon, but here it is right here, a pung. They're ready to win on a 5 crack or an 8 crack for half flush. Half flush, and west is their seat, so that north won't bring them value, but the dragon will. The dragon is a fawn. Half flush is 3 fawn, and then all pung is another 3 fawn. So this would have been a 7 fawn hand. He's in west seat. He has 2 of his flowers. This would have been an 8 fawn hand. Joey, Mr. Moneybags here, 8 fawn hand right here. Here we have a dragon pung alone. Well, they might have been doing all pung because they could pung 6, bam, pung 3 crack. They have a pung of 6 dot. They need a pair in there. And then they have a dragon pung. That would have maybe been all pung, dragon pung, and they're in north seat. So all pung is 3, dragon pung is 1, that's 4. This would have been a 4 fawn hand. Shelby is going for 1 suit, all 1 suit, 6 fawn. But they do have a pair there. They're going to need to get rid of that pair and play probably all 1 suit, flush, full flush. And here we're ready on a half flush dragon pung. We're in south seat, so no value with the wind. Okay. Oh my gosh, Joey, your hand was huge. 8 fawn. Was your blood running? That was sweet. All right, so that's going to do it for this live stream. This live stream is going to be 11 to noon, and we're going to do a presentation. I'm going to try to shave them down a little bit more. So we'll be in the one that I just did. That's the introduction. It's pretty meaty, but typically they're going to be shorter. So we'll be able to get in a little more gameplay. That's the plan. A one hour live stream. And then in a couple of weeks, I'm going to add to the Thursday slot 1 to 3, Wright-Patterson Mahjong 4 a time. So it'll be a double header on Thursdays. Hong Kong Mahjong 11 to 1 Eastern time, and then Wright-Patterson Mahjong, which is similar to this version. There are some atypical hands, but it's played the same way. But that'll go from 1 to 3. So if you're free, come in and join us based on your preference. Thank you for the questions. It was a pleasure having you here. Let's see, we're going to be back again tomorrow for Simply Social Let's Play live stream at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll do Beat the Pro from 6 to 8. And that is American Mahjong for both of that double header. Tomorrow's another double header day. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you're watching the repost, thank you for watching my videos. And then leave any comments below the video. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. We'll see you again next time. I'll go ahead and sign off. I don't see any questions. So thanks for coming, Dana, Carol, Newbie Mahj. It was a pleasure to have you here. And all of you who are watching and not commenting, thank you for coming. I appreciate you watching my videos. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. Click the little gray bell if you do. That way you'll get notification for when I post new videos, and you won't miss an opportunity to learn a new strategy or pick up an insight to the game that could give you an advantage at the table. Between now and the next video, may all your picks be keepers.